any immediate thoughts come to mind in terms of getting at or dealing with creative funks, whether that's in the context of a collaboration or just on your own? Any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, I've been quite lucky that we haven't had too many times when we've really butted heads, to the point where we can't agree on something. There's a few times we've each felt really strongly about an aspect of a track. There was a vocal on a track called Back for More, and in the end it was more Dan's track, so I was just like, okay, it's fine. And we were talking just such a small detail about how the vocal was looped on it. It was just kind of petty, but when you've got a really strong vision or an idea, which Dan had in that case, he really wanted it to sound kind of slightly rougher, whereas I wanted it slightly cleaner. So I just had to kind of say, okay, it's fine. We'll just put it out, and I'll compromise basically. So I think ultimately it comes down to compromise. I think ultimately if you don't compromise, maybe the track doesn't go out. So for me, what I always try to do is, if I'm making some music, I don't want it just sat on my hard drive. If it's good enough, it should go out. So I think you have to learn to compromise. I think that's a big thing about collaborating with other people.
Adam or James, anything to add on that?
I think getting out of a funk, when I do work with other people, I prepare loads of stuff. I'll take loads of samples that I've made myself, just so if we're missing something, I've got it. It's all right, we need a different kind of bass sound. All right, I've got all these preset sounds, we can go for this. So it's I over prepare, partly because of what I was saying before about not wanting to seem like I don't know what I'm doing. So I just bring a massive folder. So I'm look, I've done all this work already. You just use my stuff, and hopefully you can make a song if I can't in the moment. Working personally to get myself out of a funk. We were actually chatting about this just before, and I make other genres to get out of a funk, because making other genres takes, when you work on one genre so much, you have all these kind of rules that you set yourself, especially when you've been releasing for a while. There's a lot of pressure for the next release, and if people like this, you're kind of maybe I should write something similar to this or around this style. So I like to write other genres because it takes you away from those workflows. You end up doing things so differently than you would in your current genre. And most of the time, if I'm okay, cool, that's a cool sound, that's a cool vibe, or that's a cool rhythm, I end up switching the tempo back up to 174 and writing a track from what I started. So often or not, that kind of helps me just get out of it. Just kind of switch up your workflow any way you can, and hopefully that will help.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that as well. Sorry, yeah. Similarly, write something different for a different genre. And I think also for us, listening to music, listening to other tracks that we kind of take a bit of inspiration from really helps. We're just not really feeling and not really getting into a groove straight away, or if we've made something we're not really very super keen on, then we'll kind of wipe the slate, as it were, and listen to something and try and pull on a bit more inspiration from that.